Well, good evening, Panthers. We are excited to be with you on this has become our annual virtual science nights. And I'm really looking forward to tonight for many reasons. One, to be joined by my friend Jason Lindsay, and of course, Warren County, Warren Central grad, and so I'm very familiar with our area. And that tonight is spooky science night. I enjoy Halloween, so I'm looking forward to some of these spooky science experiments. And students, don't forget, you have that science kit at home that you came home with today, so make sure you have that out. And we really appreciate everybody who's joined us right now. So without further ado, Mr. Lindsay, I'm going to throw it your way.
Thank you so much, Mr. Frazier. How is everyone? I hope you're having a fantastic school year so far. We're moving right along. It's almost already October, and you know that's a big holiday. We're getting ready to move into multiple holidays, but the first big one's going to be Halloween spooky science. I do need to remind you before we get started, don't eat or drink your science experiment, have an adult around, or wear the appropriate safety gear when doing science. It's very important that we do some safe science. I wanted to start off this at least science week that we're doing the last 2 days of the week. Tomorrow I'll see you in person, but virtually this evening, with 3 experiments that you can do at home. And you have that bag that was sent home with you. It does have a scan code at the top, right hand or top left hand side of the actual bag. All you got to do is open up your camera, parents, scan that, click on it, and it's going to take you to the experiment guide. So these ingredients can be reused over and over, so you can do these multiple times. It's not like you can trash this afterwards, or you could, but the ingredients are meant to be used over and over again. I will walk you through these experiments. You don't need those guides right in front of you, but also on that page, you're going to find a link to the Facebook page. Make sure you go like that page. Make sure that you leave your comment on the post. I'll be posting a post there here soon, and I will be entering you into the drawing for my new book, Big Science Experiments for Little Kids, and another science kit that I will mail your way once we select the winner via drawing. So again, you got to make sure you like the page and make sure that you post a picture. The big thing is going to be post a picture, since we've done multiple of these. Many of you already like that page. So post your picture on there under that post, and I'll do that within our first experiment so that you can go do that during this virtual family science night. I hope you and the family are safe and well, as I said, as we continue to march through a new school year. In addition to those 3 experiments, we are going to do 3 other spooky science experiments. Inside of here, I have, what is that? I don't know. Maybe it is Dracula slobber. Maybe it's witch slobber. I'm not sure, but it's going to do something pretty cool. We're going to make some water disappear right in front of our eyes. You're like, this is not a magic show, it's science, but magicians do use science, and we call it magic. I have some bubbles over here that we're going to be able to bounce. You're going to be able to touch them. I'll tell you how you can use that and do that. And then if we get to this last one, which I think we will, we're going to show you the power behind an orange. But first and foremost, let's start with something that I like, and that's one that we're going to do with you just watching, and then we're going to move to one in the bag, and then one to watching, one in the bag, one to watching, and then one in the bag. So we have a total of 6 things we're going to do tonight. What are you going to be for Halloween? Maybe a scientist? I'm not sure. I'm sure those Halloween. Do you still get to do Halloween parties, Mr. Frazier, there at your school and all schools?
We have fall parties, but usually it coincides around with Halloween time.
All those goodies, you know, I went to elementary school, multiple schools around there. Richardsville was one of them, and some of my big memories from Richardsville Elementary was those Halloween parties where we'd have those cookies and cakes and all that good stuff. But I think they don't have to be in a package nowadays. Is that right?
That's right. Got to be prepackaged.
Yeah, prepackaged back then. And what was that? Let me see. I was born in 77, about to have my 46th birthday on October 3rd. So it was back in the 80s when we went to school in kindergarten. Half a day, I think it was. We learned our ABCs, picked our nose, took a nap, and ate a snack and went home. Now you're what, multiplying by the time you're in kindergarten? Okay, maybe not that far, but at least you're adding and subtracting and reading. Okay, let's get started with this one that I really like. This is about matter. So typically your 2nd grader and your 5th grader are typically mastering matter. Matter is what's basically we encounter every single day. It's anything that takes up space and has mass. It exists in 3 main states. We'll focus on that in elementary school: solid, liquid, and a gas. Think about ice. I have some ice in my refrigerator over here. It once was a liquid, but we put it in the freezer and it became this, a solid. You know what ice is, and make sure to drink colder, but eventually it melts and it will water it down. But water can exist in three main states. A solid, which is the ice. I have a liquid in here that I'm going to pour into this cup. Watch closely. You'll notice there's a liquid. I poured it all in there. And then, of course, if I take water and put it on the stove back here and boil it, it goes from a liquid to a gas. So we have solids, liquids, and gases. And, during Halloween time, it's the perfect time to explore science. It's spooky science because we hear lots of sounds. We see some weird things that go on. The list goes on, but it's really all a science. It's illusions and all about vibrations moving through matter. And we touch goopy things like inside of pumpkins. I have some actual pumpkins over here, and we dissect them. We cut them open. We put funky faces in them. It's all about science during this time of the year. So basically, I had my water in here. I'm scooping up some air. That's a gas. Now what I wanted to do is turn this upside down above my head. Do you think the water is going to pour all over me? What's your hypothesis? Think about it. You think it's going to get me wet? Okay, let's see. It's upside down. Here, let me get closer to the camera and I'll show you what's going on here. It's a pretty cool science experiment. Remember, we poured the water into this cup. You remember that, right? Now I'm going to turn it upside down and you'll notice it seems like the water's not there. So maybe it's in the other cup, right? Something spooky is going on here. What in the world? Well, when you were not looking, I poured something in this cup. It was a powder, and it absorbs like 100 times its weight in water. So while Halloween may seem spooky, just remember there's some science tricks going on there. So don't be so scared. But you'll notice that goopy stuff. Where can you find this every day? In baby diapers. Yeah, baby diapers have this powder in it, and it absorbs hundreds of times its weight in water. So when the baby goes to the bathroom, number one, it absorbs it, and it keeps the water away from the baby. That's what's in diapers. So if you have a baby brother or sister at home, dissect that diaper open, okay? And then when you dissect the diaper open, you're going to find that powder, kind of put it in a Ziploc bag like this, move it around a lot, and the powder will be in the bottom. Remove the cotton, and you can do the same experiment right there at home by using what you find in baby diapers. So while it was weird and it disappeared at the time, now you know the science secret behind it. Okay, it's time to get your science kit. What we're going to do first is we're going to make a ping pong ball float in midair. Is it haunted? Here's what I need you to do. 3, 2, 1. If you can hear my voice, clap once. If you can hear my voice, clap twice. Okay, now I need you on your bottom, and I need you to pull out 2 ingredients from your bag. A flexible straw and a ping pong ball. So we got those 2 ingredients. I'm going to place them on the table here that I have. And we're going to do an experiment with those where we're going to make a ping pong ball seem like it's just haunted and it's floating in the air. This is the time, parents, to snap those pictures of your kids doing some cool science. I'm going to quickly snap a picture now while you're getting your ingredients out. And I'm going to post it there at the page of me doing some pretty cool science. I need to clean my lens. It's kind of getting gross. There we go. It's a lot cleaner now. So what I'm going to do is snap a picture here. And then I'll post this on the Facebook page. It says something like, hey, having some fun doing some virtual science experiments with my friends at Plano Elementary School. So I'll snap this picture, post it there, and you don't forget to post your pictures at the Facebook page as well. You got your ingredients? Go ahead and pull them out. You should have them in front of you. I need those ingredients in front of you, and we're going to do this together by the time I get to 1, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bottom, wherever you're supposed to be. Hands in your lap, eyes on me. Good job. Watch first, then you can do it, okay? I want to give you some experiments, so some details. So here's my question. We're going to use the scientific method. It starts with a question, then you have a hypothesis, you do your experiment, you collect data, then you conclude. Can you make a ping pong ball float in the air like it's haunted. And by the way, you can get ping pong balls with eyeballs on them at your local department store. You can make the eyeball float in the air. Pretty cool, right? Now, I need you to take your straw, not yet. Remember, your eyes are on me and you're on your bottom and your hands are in your lap. And I need you just to open it here in a few seconds. And you'll notice this is a flexible straw. Flexible straw. So it bends in all different directions, at least one part of it. So can you make a ping pong ball float in the air by using a flexible straw and your smelly breath? What's your hypothesis? Yes, no. Now, think about pushes and pulls. That's a force. So that's a kindergarten concept and a third grade concept. A force is a push or a pull. A force is a push or a pull. We need to get balanced forces acting on the ping pong ball so that it can float in the air. If you get an unbalanced force on there, it's going to fall onto the floor. You know about balanced forces and unbalanced forces. You learn how to ride a bicycle at an early age. When you learn how to ride that bicycle, you stay riding it because all forces are balanced. What are those forces acting on you in the bicycle? You have gravity pulling down, you have air pushing against you, and then you have you, the human, pushing, making it go forward, so on. But when it's unbalanced, you crash, right? Doesn't feel so good. That's why you have the helmet on, the elbow pads, the knee pads, so on. Either way it goes, we want some balanced forces acting on this ping pong ball. So watch me. You shouldn't be doing anything yet. Watch me. I'm going to get a little closer to the camera. And as I get closer to the camera, again, what I want you to do is you're going to try this two ways. You're first going to try it this way, blow through it. And then what I want you to do is to turn it the long way and try it and blow through it. So the first one, you're going to place your lips onto the long part of the straw, place the ping pong ball on top. Try to get it to float in the air. Not yet. You should be watching, by the way. Then you're going to do it the other way. Which one works better? So your experiment is to try to make it float in the air. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whomever's in charge of a kid, you're going to snap some pictures of this one. And the others, and you're going to post them there at the Facebook page for your chance to enter, or at least your entrance into a chance to win the new book, Big Science Experiments for Little Kids, that I have, as well as a science kit. Now it's your turn. I'm going to give you a few minutes to try this. I'm going to check my time here. It's 7:15 right now. I'm going to give you less than 5 minutes for you to explore with it and make it float in the air. Please do not blow your slobber into anyone else's face, including your brother or your sister, your dog or your cat or your pet giraffe or whatever you have. Make sure you're keeping your slobber and your breath to yourself. Go ahead, try the experiment. I'm going to make that post right now so that you can go post your pictures. $7:15 now. I'll give you a 60-second warning that we're going to start to wrap it up, but I want you to try it now. You're trying to get balanced forces, by the way, to make that float in the air. With some pretty cool families. Yes, I'm old. I do speak into my phone. You got about 60 seconds. And we're going to move on to our next one, which has to do with bouncing a bubble. The bubble is haunted. You probably don't believe me, do you? Spooky Science Family Night. Thirty seconds left. Fifteen seconds. Spooky Science Family Night Fun with some pretty cool Plano Elementary. Stew. Okay, that post was just made at Hooked on Science on Facebook. Make sure you go post your pictures and your comments in that page for that chance to win that stuff. Okay, put everything back into your bag that you're not using. Put your trash in the trash by the time I get to 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, uh-oh, I'm behind, 2, and 1. Oops, I did put my stuff in the trash. We'll put that right over there. Okay, so far we have made some water seem like it disappeared. Kind of spooky there. Hopefully you're not scared yet because it's a science, right? We made a ping pong ball float in the air. What I want to do next is take a bubble and make it bounce in the air. You know, it's hard to do this, especially if you don't have this glove. Now, this glove's a little small for my hand, but it'll still work. You could use a sock as well, but you'll notice here it's got to be a cotton glove or it can be a cotton sock. Just make sure you don't take it off your foot. It might smell bad. Smelly feet, especially kindergarten smelly feet. Whoa. Joking aside. Either way it goes, you need something that's cottonish and put it on your hand. Next one I have over here is some bubble solution in this blue thing here. Basically put some dish detergent, water in there. You're like, how much of each? I need to know. Not really. Just trial and error. Sometimes you need more bubble solution. Sometimes you need more water. If you really want those bubbles to stick together, you're going to have to use something like corn syrup or glycerin, which you can both get at your local department store. They make those bubbles last a little bit longer. Bubbles last longer, especially in more humid areas, like our wonderful state, Kentucky. If you go out west in Colorado, your bubbles aren't going to last that long. And here's why, because a bubble consists of 3 layers. It consists of a soapy layer, water layer, soapy layer. And once that water layer evaporates, goes from a liquid to a gas, then it pops. We don't want that to happen. We want it to last as long as possible. So in humid areas, it tends to last a little bit longer than in drier areas. So I have that in there. This is just a special bubble wand that's going to allow me to blow a bubble and put it in my hand. You can use any bubble wand that you want. I'm going to put my glove on and I'm going to try my hardest to bounce a bubble. It seems like it might be possessed, like your fish here in a minute, or maybe it is haunted, or there's a ghost taking over my bubble. Not really, it's science. So I might describe the bubble solution by its observable properties, rub it between my fingers, it's slimy, it's slippery, so on. I might smell it. It smells like 5th grade boy armpits. Or for that matter, I might, well, I don't taste science, but I'm describing it by its observable properties. That's what I did with matter. Remember, matter, 2nd grade, as well as a 5th grade concept. Now I'm going to blow my bubble. Next, I'm going to bounce my bubble. Ooh, you see that? Look at that. Yeah, we're bouncing a bubble. I'm going to try to get closer to the camera. I'm walking around this island here. Here I go. I'm getting closer, 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 closer. This thing pops. Closer, closer. Okay. So it's simple science here. My bubble consists of those 3 layers. As soon as my bubble hits my hand, it pops. My naked hand. Did you see that? And the reason for that is pretty simple. The oil and dirt on my hand Blow another bubble. Oh. Bounce that bubble. The glove protects the bubble from my dirty hand. It has the oil and the dirt on it. And I'm able to make it bounce using that cotton glove. Bubbles are fun. We have gas on the inside, gas on the outside, hopefully not smelly gas. Oh! We could bounce this all day long, right? Look at that. A little closer. So we're bouncing a bubble. And this one's lasting a long time. Usually they pop before this. You think there's a ghost moving it? A ghost protecting it? Is there a ghost inside? I don't know. Oops, it popped. But yeah, you could have all kinds of fun with a bubble by bouncing it in your hands. All you have to do is you have to make sure you have a cotton glove on. A cotton glove, that's very important because that's going to protect the bubble against the dirt and the oil on your fingers. I'm going to go ahead and move this over, and we're going to move back to your bag. What I want you to get out of your bag next is the fortune teller miracle fish. You see it right here, okay? I want you to go ahead and pull that out. Don't do anything with it yet. I just need you to get it, place it on the table. I'm gonna give you a few seconds to get that, okay? We'll check to see if anybody's posting their pictures of their kids catching on fire. Oops, wait a minute, that's later. Never mind. No, you're safe. Let's see here. Family Science Night. Uh-oh, we got some pictures here coming in. Jessica West, Holly, Krista, Alicia, Nick Scott just posted some pictures. Make sure you're posting those pictures. We're going to make sure that we enter you into the drawing for that science kit, okay? So again, make sure you're posting those pictures. We got some videos that are being posted, all kinds of fun stuff going on here. Make sure you get those posted on there. There's even more coming in now. Okay, got all your ingredients in front of you? Let's go ahead and show you what this fortune fish does. On the back, it says, please, wait a minute, sorry, can't see. Place fish in palm of the hand, and its movement will indicate if you're jealous. It's going to have a moving head. If you have a moving tail, you're indifferent. That means you don't care one way or the other. Moving head and tail, you're in love. Don't be marrying the fish. Whatever you do, don't marry science, okay? Fickle, curling sides up. You know what fickle means, basically. Fickle, picky might be another word for fickle. You're kind of, what's another word that you might understand from kindergarten all the way up to sixth graders there? Fickle, kind of picky, kind of, you get agitated over certain things quickly. Would be another way to describe fickle. False, if it turns over. A dead one, motionless. And passionate means you really love what you do. Curls up entirely. Okay, what I want you to do, you're just watching, by the way, right now. I'll tell you when you can do this in a minute. Is you're going to take your fish out like this. This is the possessed fish. Is it really possessed? No, not really. You'll notice it. You notice that it's translucent. So starting in first grade, we start placing objects in front of a light source to determine if they're transparent, translucent, or opaque. Opaque, let me show you opaque. Can you see through my hand? No, it's opaque. Can you see through this? Yep, it's translucent. It's like stained glass. Can you see through the air in front of me? Yes, you can. That's transparent. Or the window is transparent as well. But you notice my fish here. My fish is translucent, okay? So what you're going to do in a minute is you're going to take your fish, you're going to hold out your hand like this, and you're going to place the fish in your hand, and it's going to move like it has its own brain. Oh no, did you see that? Okay, it's your turn. Go ahead, try it. Put in your hand, and here's my question to you as you're doing this. Why is it moving? We know it's really not possessed. It's not possessed. I'm getting hung up on some things here. Let me get this fixed. It's not possessed at all, meaning something's not taking over the fish and making it move, or maybe it's science. But why is it moving? Is it because your hand's hot? Is it because it's cold? Is it because it's sloppy wet because you're sweating all over the place? Is it because, I don't know. What's your hypothesis? You'd be thinking about it as you're trying it, okay? I'm going to give you just a few minutes to do that. Hope you're having fun as we are doing some pretty cool, spooky science with the coolest kids in Bowling Green. Make sure you're posting your pictures. This will be another opportunity to snap some pictures as your kid is doing the fortune fish. I'm going to go ahead and edit this picture and copy. I want to add a few more pictures here. Done. Updated that. Is your fish moving? Is it a moving head, a moving tail, a moving head and tail, curling sides, turning over, motionless, curled up entirely? Are you in love? Are you fickle? Are you jealous? Are you indifferent? Are you passionate? Or is it just some simple science? What do you think it is? Okay, time to tell you because this is a quick one. When you put your hand out like this and you put that fish in your hand, this fish is made of cellophane. Basically, you might use it to cover plates after you, once you don't eat everything for Thanksgiving, you might put the leftovers in the refrigerator and you might use cellophane to do that. Okay, this is what that's made out of. And it has holes. If you look at it under a microscope, this fish here, it has tiny little holes in it. And when you place it on your hand, if you got a sweaty hand is going to curl up more because those tiny little holes on one side are going to suck up the water from your hand, the sweat. So if you take a paper towel, I have one over here. If you take a paper towel, I'm stuck, place it down on the table and then put it on there, it flattens out because the paper towel's dry. But if you put it back on your hand to where it's wet, it curls up again. So it's nothing scary, it's just science is all it is, because the cellophane or the plastic this is made out of, and all materials are used a specific way matter is to create things that we do each and every day or that we interact with, from, well, the list goes on, the milk we drink to the computer we use. It all has matter. Everything's made up of matter. It allows us to do it. And depending on how those tiny pieces are that make up the matter depends on what you have. If those tiny pieces are just floating around everywhere like air, it's called a gas. If they're close together in a pattern, that's a solid. If they're sliding past each other, that's a liquid. Okay, time for us to do an experiment that you just watched, and then we're going to end on our last experiment, which has to do with a spooky bead that glows in the dark. Yeah, it's going to glow in the dark. And then we're going to ask some questions. So we got 2 more experiments, and then we're going to ask some questions. So you be thinking about any questions that you might have. Questions start with who, what, when, where, why, how. I'm not looking for a story. We'll do that after our last experiment, which has to do with a spooky bead. But you be thinking about questions that you might have. I don't know if Mr. Frazier wants you to type them in as we're doing this, or if he wants you to ask them or whatever. I'll let him give you those illicit instructions here in just a few seconds. How would you like him to do it, Mr. Frazier?
Well, students, if you want, just put it in the chat box on the live stream. We will get those questions there. So just put that in there. And also in the live stream, there is a sign-in list. And parents, the reason we're able to do events like this is because we get some federal funding from the government. And if we need a sign-in list to make sure we show the federal government, hey, we got people who are interested in science and they want to keep doing this. So if you could sign in on there, that helps us to get that funding so we can have great nights like this with our families.
Perfect. Make sure you're signing in there. It's very important. Okay, I have an orange balloon, and did you know that an orange is super sharp? This is one of my favorite experiments and one of the most requested other than the fire rocket. Now, tomorrow during our assembly at 2 o'clock there at Plano Elementary School, you'll see me in person. We're going to do the foam monster that's going to come alive and only eat kindergartners. Okay, I'm joking. You're safe. We're going to do a soaring ghost, floating eyeballs, and more. That's tomorrow, too, in person there at Plano Elementary School. But this one here is just an all-out cool experiment that even surprises parents and grandparents and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and everybody. So the whole purpose of Hooked on Science is to show you that you already have everything at home to do science. You don't need fancy lab equipment. You don't need Bunsen burners and beakers and flasks, and the list goes on. You have everything in your kitchen to do science. Oranges, balloons you might have somewhere else in the house. So what I want you to do here is we're going to talk about matter again, anything that takes up space and has mass. Well, I'm talking a little about sound waves, which we master in the 4th grade. Sound, basically vibrations moving through matter, a wave. And depending on how that wave is situated, if it's squashed together and the amplitude and the wavelength is different, depends on if it's a high pitch or a low pitch. What I'm going to do is fill this up full of air, and we should have a loud pop, by the way, so a loud noise coming from this. You'll notice I'm blowing up my balloon. So if you're doing this, how do I know a kid that I'm teaching science has mastered a concept or not? Not because they memorize that matter is anything that takes up space and has mass. Not that they memorize a bunch of stuff, because anybody can do that and regurgitate that. But can they apply it and go teach someone else? Can they teach mom and dad, brother, sister, cousin, whatever at home? That's how I know you've mastered it, because you're going home and you're telling mom and dad about it and you're wanting to do science at home. That means you're interested and you're mastering science concepts. Not because we're memorizing a bunch of vocabulary words and then regurgitating them on a test. It's important that we apply our knowledge, and the more we apply it, the more it sticks up here. And we can apply science to everyday life, no matter what career you choose, okay? I'm gonna fill this full of air. Almost there. Okay, so the balloon almost has to pop. Got it? The balloon almost has to pop. While we're speaking about careers, I'm a scientist myself. I graduated from Western Kentucky University in 2000. Well, that's forever ago. With a degree in meteorology. So one of my first TV stations I did weather at was WBKL, which I'll be there tomorrow at midday doing some science stuff on the midday show, by the way, before I head to Plano Elementary School a little bit later in the day. Then I moved to Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri, Tennessee, a little bit of everywhere doing weather on TV. Got tired of it in 2007 and started Hooked on Science. So I've been doing Hooked on Science since 2007. I freelance a little bit now, from Lexington to Nashville to Cincinnati to Evansville to Paducah, Kentucky, all over the place. But you know, it's never too early to be thinking about what you want to be when you grow up. Because I knew I wanted to be a meteorologist in kindergarten when I was scared of storms. And my parents and my teachers were like, hey, go read some books about it, learn about it, become educated about it. It's okay to go to college, but college isn't for everybody. The problem with all these college degrees is that they haven't lived up to good paying jobs. So that's why we say it's okay to master a trade. It's okay to be an electrician. It's okay to be a plumber. It's okay to be a mechanic. Those careers, which they're science careers, by the way, they're STEM careers, pay just as much money as doctors and lawyers or can at the end of the day, and you don't have as much debt to pay off. So consider a trade. It can really pay off at the end of the day, and they pay good money, okay? So consider being a dental hygienist. Consider being a plumber, an electrician, a welder. My second oldest kid is a welder and makes good money. I have 4 kids. They range from 21 to 14. So one of them's going to college. The other decided to master a trade, doesn't have any debt, making more money than the college kid already. So keep that in mind. Okay, balloon overfilled with air. See there? How in the world, this is kind of scary, do I pop a balloon with an orange. I'm going to try to set this here without it falling on the floor. Now I'm going to cut my orange, so I'm going to grab a knife out of here because I need it a certain way. Watching my fingers. Remember, you should not be playing with knives at all or cutting things by yourself. Make sure there's an adult around. Next, I'm going to take the peeling because that's important here. Peelings are very important for this experiment. The peeling contains something called limonene oil. And that limonene oil in the peeling actually takes apart the smaller pieces that make up the balloon. Okay, so this balloon, you, me, everything is made of small pieces. The flowers behind me, the pumpkin, you, the camera that I'm talking to right now, the balloon. What's going to happen is those small pieces are linked together. We want to break the bonds. And we do that by using the limonene oil. It's a solvent, and it takes apart the smaller pieces. This is more middle school stuff, so 6th grade, 7th grade, so on, that we really start talking about this. Either way it goes, we start talking about everything's made of small pieces in 2nd grade. And that matters anything that takes up space and has mass. Okay, here we go. I'm going to squeeze the oil on there. We're going to create vibrations moving through matter with sound. Are you sure about this? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. Eyes on the camera. 3, or on your screen. 2, 1. Yeah. We just popped the balloon with the sharpest thing I know, an orange, because the orange contains something called a solvent, the limonene oil. You can also use lemons, limes, grapefruits, anything in the citrus family. If you squeeze it on your mom or dad's head, their head should explode. No, not for real. Is their head made out of a rubber balloon? No, not at all. But the oil does take apart the smaller pieces that make up the balloon, and it pops it pretty quickly. Okay. Time for us to move to our last experiment. Hopefully you're typing in any questions that you might have there. What you need from your bag now. There is a bead in your bag. It's a glow bead. Make sure you grab that, place it on the table, and your pipe cleaner. I'm going to give you a few minutes to do that. Go check out the Facebook page to see if you all are posting those pictures. Now, if you don't have Facebook, because Facebook makes you smell bad, you can always send your pictures to me via email. So if you scan that code on the bag, okay, with your camera, it has my email there. It has my contact info. You can send it to me and I'll still enter you into the drawing. So just because you don't have Facebook doesn't mean that you don't enter. You still have an option to enter. If you don't have a computer, you can always go to your local library and send me an email that way and sign up for an account that way. Okay, so make sure you get those ingredients. Do it pretty quick as we are going to do our last experiment. And as we do our last experiment, keep in mind, go post those pictures and those comments at the Facebook page. And I'm going to enter you into that drawing for a free science kit, as well as my new book, Big Science Experiments for Little Kids. And I will bring those prizes tomorrow, and I will let Mr. Frazier know who the winner is and let him give them, or I may give it to him, I don't know, whatever Mr. Frazier says. He's still in charge here, is how we will give that away tomorrow. Let's see here. Okay, lots of comments and pictures there. We got 19. We can do more. Make sure you're going and posting those pictures and those comments. You're having fun. My kid caught on fire by accident, whatever it is. Okay, everybody got your ingredients? Let's refocus. Hocus pocus. Everybody focus. I need you to take your pipe cleaner. I'm going a little closer to the camera because this is kind of important, as long as I don't get tangled up in the dog bowl over here. Okay, so this can be a little pokey here, so keep that in mind, parents, grandparents, whoever's in charge. It should be fine, but I don't want anybody's little finger to get hurt. But you'll notice there is a hole in the middle of your bead, and I just want you to thread that pipe cleaner to the middle of the actual thing here, okay? Make sure it's in the middle. Once you get there, we're going to do something. You need to find a light source. What do I mean by a light source? Well, I mean, I have a camera light here. This is my light source. I'll show it to you. You'll notice super bright. That's a bright light source, okay? I'm going to set this over here, but while I'm doing that, I'm going to turn off other lights here in this room, this room here. Alexa, turn off living room light.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. She doesn't listen with the kitchen lights. So I'm going to walk over here to the kitchen light and turn it off. There we go. We're getting dark. Okay, so I want you to take this and I want you to put it in your bright light source. I'm going to turn off another light over here. And all I want is my bright light source. So I'm going to put it in a bright light source. This is all about energy and how we're transferring energy. This is a fourth grade concept. Energy cannot be created and it can't be destroyed. The same amount of energy that was here yesterday is here today and will be here tomorrow. How do we get it from one spot to the next? We transform that energy from one type to the next. Okay, now you're watching and you're going to do this yourself here in a minute. I'm going to turn off this light and you'll notice it's glowing. Pretty cool, right? So your bead will glow. It's a glow bead. It's not because it's haunted for real. Let me turn some lights back on here before a ghost gets me, right? Alexa, turn the living room light on, please.
Okay.
There we go. Next, I'm going to turn on the kitchen lights. There we go. Can you see me again? Yeah. What's happening is it's all about bioluminescence. This bead has special ingredients on the inside, and those special ingredients will absorb the light and then re-emit the light. So it's all about energy transfer. We're transferring it by using bioluminescence material that's inside of the bead that's absorbing the light and then re-emitting the light. And we'll do it forever, by all means. You'll need to recharge it, right? You know about this from glow material. But you can try that over and over again. You can even put it as a bracelet on your hand like that, twist it, and you have it on there, okay? So we did multiple science experiments. Multiple people posted pictures of the Facebook page. Don't forget to go do that. And I hope you had some spooky science fun. So let's see if we have any good questions that came through from Mr. Fraser. I'll attempt to answer that. I don't know every single answer to every question, but I know a lot about some science. But we'll check it all out. Do you have any good questions there, Mr. Fraser?
Well, the chat is quiet right now, but parents and students, you can go ahead and put your question in that chat. But Mr. Lindsay, I'll ask you. I saw you posted about the NASA mission that just returned some samples from the asteroid. I'm sure we send our sixth graders to space camp every year, so we're real interested in NASA, so we would love to hear about that.
I thought you were about to say you send your sixth graders to space. I was like, wow, Mr. Fraser.
Federal funding is make sure you fill out that form so we get that federal funding to send them to space.
Yes, that could be the next field trip to Mars. I know we will be sending astronauts to Mars one day, but yes, you're exactly right, Mr. Fraser. We were able to, not we, but NASA was able to send a mission to one of the asteroids, take some rocks from that, and those rocks just recently landed in the desert southwestern part of the United States. And they are going to, they have to be very cautious about this. You know, when we talk about aliens, everybody thinks green people with weird arms and legs. Well, alien life doesn't mean that. Alien life could mean plant life. It could mean any kind of life that's going on a different planet. It doesn't get that image out of your head when we say aliens in science. When it comes to alien life, it's just basically anything that might be living on another planet or that could be a creature or whatever. And it doesn't mean they're green. It could be a bug or whatever. We haven't found anything yet, but could we? Who knows? We have to be very careful as we open up that capsule, putting on certain kinds of clothing that's protective. Who knows if it's radioactive? We don't know what we got from that asteroid, but the days and months to come as we open that up in a protective lab, we will see what we find on that meteorite that was floating out in outer space along with everything else, including our planets overall. But it'd be pretty cool to see what we see on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just such a current event, too, since that just landed. Was it earlier this week or last week?
It was. If not this week, it was late last week. Well, I know we've been tracking it and watching it and so on as we continue to look for that. You know, another question I've been getting too is about our winter. A lot of people hear that we're having an El Nino winter. And typically for Kentucky, the greatest state in the union, of course, we're supposed to have a wet and warm winter. So it doesn't mean that we won't have our spells of cold weather. It doesn't mean that we won't have our spell of maybe a snow here and there. But the overall trend is that it will be warm and kind of wet this winter. I like snow too. I do. Some of you may be looking at your persimmon seeds. That folklore says if you take your persimmon seeds and slice it in half, if there's a spoon, you're going to be shoveling a lot of snow. If there's a fork, you're cracking the ice. If there's a knife, I forget what the knife is. Is that cold weather? That may be cold weather. Yeah. Cutting through ice too. I'm not sure. There's so much folklore out there that we look at, including the woolly worms, depending on how much black you might see versus the brown on the woolly worm will depend on, how cold it might get or how harsh the winter might be. But I do believe that Mother Nature has a way of at least preparing for an upcoming winter. Wondering what folks are seeing. Are you seeing anything weird in your backyard, Mr. Frazier, there in Bowling Green?
Well, we went camping with me and my daughter the other night. We found some snails in our backyard, and we were pretty fascinated with the snails. We're not sure where they came from, but it was fascinating.
Cool. Yeah.
Well, don't have any questions, but I guess my last question would be: we were supposed to have a kindergarten field trip to Jackson's Orchard today,
Yes.
but it rained out. But they've rescheduled for tomorrow. So, do you think it's going to rain tomorrow?
Actually, we're supposed to be in a very dry trend over the next 10 to 15 days. So I'm thinking that we're going to be good to go. That means they can get their little pumpkins and bring them all. What do they get nowadays? I don't remember too many field trips when I was a little kid. And I lived in Richardsville, very close to Jackson's Orchard.
You're
there,
right next
just
to
up
it.
the road. Yeah. Overall. But I do remember going as a kid and being able to pick apples and so on and all that good stuff.
Yep. So kindergartners, you heard it. We should have good weather tomorw, so we're looking forward
Unless
to
it
having
snows.
Unless it snows in 80-degree weather.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. And I've been following the pictures on Facebook too. Looks like we have a lot of Panthers are at home following along. So thanks so much for joining us. And the great news is we're going to see you tomorrow. So I can't wait to get you in front of our whole school tomorrow.
Yes. And just because you didn't post now, you still got until tomorrow to post. So you got over the next few hours until tomorrow. I will bring those prizes and leave them with Mr. Frazier and let him know who the winner is. Okay?
Awesome. And parents, just one more reminder, if you could, sign in on that Google form. I think there was a error on the settings where it might not let you some of you click on it, but you can go ahead and click on it now. It should work. We appreciate you filling that out. And we'll look forward to seeing our Panthers back here tomorrow. All right.
Keep safe.
See you guys.